Hey you, I played knockoff versions of 5 popular Steam games because I think that some of these AAA games are getting a little too expensive for my taste. So to go on strike, why not get the great value brand to see if less money is worth the decrease in quality? And to make this more exciting for you, I won't tell you what games these knockoffs are copying off of until the end of this video. You just have to use context clues in that big, smelly, squishy, jiggly, rotted brain of yours. The first game I played is called Harmageddon, a soul-like game where you're a representative of the gods who embark on a journey to reclaim the power. Doesn't say what power though, just the power. I also put journey in quotes because when you think journey, you might think of a Lord of the Rings type adventure with tons of terrain and maybe danger lurking around every corner. But 1, this is not a lot of terrain, and 2, this is not danger. But in all fairness, this is early access, so we'll sweep it under the rug. When I started the game, I was greeted by the main character who seemed as shocked as I was about how terribly this game is optimized. After running around and saying hi to an enemy that didn't feel like attacking me because they haven't clocked into their shift yet, I looked around for a weapon until I realized I already had one in my inventory. Thanks for letting me know, game. The weapons also had stats like attack and stability. I think they meant poise. But either way, I'm willing to put my soul into the fact that none of these stats truly mean anything in the game. Once I had my weapons in hand, I killed my first enemy of very low difficulty and ran into the first room. And this is where I discovered something really scuffed. Not this guy, let's get rid of him. It's this little area right here. Hello? Oh, why is it? Oh, am I traveling? Is this? No, it's not. It's just absolutely horrible lighting. I continued on the trail until I ran into this checkpoint disguised as a holy grail and also witnessed what might be the tallest tower in video game history. Whoa. Jesus Christ! That might be taller than the biggest building. I then battled my way through the bridge, which was the toughest battle of any lifetime, even tougher than the battle against my gambling addiction. And finally, as with every Souls-like, we finally face our first boss. But first, you see this little bottle and number on the bottom left of the screen? Yeah, I have no idea what they do. Honestly, don't even know why I put it out. Anyway, the boss's name was the First Murderer Cain. After what might have been the weakest scream ever, he chased after me. Now, Cain has some insane attacks. Like, he has area of attack movements, he was able to pick me up and throw me, and he could throw a relentless amount of fists at me. Unfortunately, they did no damage to me whatsoever. At one point, he just stood there and took my sword swings while he stared at me, and then went Super Saiyan. I finally killed Cain and expected this door to open to the second part of the game, but that didn't happen, because after you kill Cain, that's where the game ends. I can still move around the map with a little bit of finesse, but that's as far as content goes for the game. The devs said the only level the game had right now was the tutorial level. Honestly, whatever the opposite of a Souls-like game is, this is it. The next game is called Champions of Odin. The story goes that you're the great Nordic god Odin, and you're tasked with finding and reviving the soul of your wife who was killed. I think my favorite part about this whole game is the trailer, because it starts out with the Xbox intro, even though this game is not on Xbox or even any console for that matter. Anyway, when I started the game, I was met with some top tier main menu music that had me vibing out for a couple minutes. Then it just abruptly ended when I started the game. Now, the first thing I realized I could do was move my head up and down as far as I wanted to go without restraint from my spine. So I did a bunch of front flips and back flips for fun until I ended up breaking the controls so much that my left and right controls inverted and I couldn't look up or down. I guess this is lore accurate to Odin though, so I won't nitpick. I restarted the game and talked to my wife that said she wanted to hear about my day, but asked me to grab some wood first, so I asked her to do the same thing. When I returned with the wood, a ninja lady teleported out of nowhere and killed my wife in front of me. The ninja lady with amazing voice acting.
Odin, my dear friend, I've missed you.
Said that if I wanted to get my wife back, I had to go to Jotunheim and kill my son Thor because we sent him to ambush the ninja lady's battalions. I don't know why we just can't call off the attack, but I guess I obliged to this deal by shouting at her. Okay. I was then teleported to the battlefield, and this is when the game actually began. I had a frost axe that could freeze enemies, a crossbow with explosive arrows, and then a few spells. Now, even though this seemed like a lot of actions, they did not size up to the amount of enemies I was gonna have to deal with. To be honest, I couldn't even get past the first enemy because that stupid club dealt so much damage to me and it had such an insane reach. I spent 5 minutes just trying to back up and shoot my explosive arrows until it died. And I didn't know it yet, but that basically encapsulated the combat system of this game. Basically, throughout the whole game, there were so many enemies that surrounded me and drained my health so quickly that I had to adopt the same strategy that I had with the first enemy. Just continuously back up and shoot my crossbow and fire spell until they died, but my strategy took so long to kill everyone because just look at all those enemies, dude. And if I died once, I would have to fight them all over again. At which point, I would just do the old reliable Dark Souls strat and run right past everyone to the next checkpoint. After about 45 minutes of playing, I ran into a dragon that took me forever to get past because its attacks were impossible to dodge with my basic ass movement. Not only that, but it was in the air, so none of my attacks minus, you guessed it, my fucking crossbow could hit it. So I had to sit there and wait for my arrows to recharge while avoiding all the dragon's attacks. I couldn't even walk past it because it was a checkpoint boss that wouldn't let me pass until I killed it. And then when I finally killed it, I moved on to the next section, and the game had the audacity to send 4 more of the same dragons at me with a bunch of other enemies that had dumbass, unavoidable attacks also trying to kill me. This game, I swear, should be called Crossbow and Backing Up because the other attacks are useless simulator. I sincerely hope that the developer of this game made this as a cash grab, because if this is someone's passion project, I'd feel bad for crapping on it, but this is ass. I didn't get to the end because I was so frustrated. I'm just gonna assume at the end of the game that we kill the ninja lady and get our wife back without killing Thor. And lastly, the cherry on top of all this is the fact that the game was $15 for Crossbow Simulator. You can bet your bottom dollar I returned that. Okay, moving on to less infuriating games. This one's called Ghost Treasure, and when I opened it, I was immediately thrown a Windows security alert because the game wanted to connect to my Wi-Fi, even though the game was an offline game, but I accepted it because I still needed a good video. Anyway, it's a game where you're a pirate aboard a ghost captain ship to win treasure by playing a game kind of like Russian roulette. It's played by both players sitting at a table in the captain ship that I'll admit has some weird cargo aboard. Oh damn! Buddy, you okay over there? Feet, and a number of bullets and blanks are shown to you. It's important to keep in mind how many of each are there. At the beginning of the round, either one of those blanks or bullets is secretly loaded into a flintlock and then placed in front of you. The captain then flips a coin to decide who goes first. Whoever goes first has 2 options. You can either use the gun to shoot yourself or the opponent. If you decide to shoot yourself, you'll either shoot a blank, then you get another turn of the gun, or you shoot yourself with a bullet, which causes you to lose a life. On the other hand, if you decide to shoot your opponent instead, you can either shoot a blank, which does nothing, or you can shoot a bullet, which gets rid of one of their lives. Once you get one of those outcomes, then it's the opponent's turn. You switch off turns until all the bullets and blanks have been shot, and then you start another round. There's also special power-ups that you can use to gain an advantage, like buffing your next bullet to take 2 lives instead of 1, or being able to see what was currently loaded into the gun before making your move. There are 3 games of this, and if you win the 3 games, then you win the treasure, but if the ghost captain wins one, then you lose. It was honestly a pretty fun game, and I actually did win, so I got away with some extra treasure, but the problem was there was nothing to do with the treasure. I could travel to different port towns, but there was nothing to buy with the gold that I got. All I could do there was look at how badly the NPCs remodeled. Sup? You're all kind of the same though. You guys have a striking resemblance to your father. The port towns had houses I could go into, but there was nothing inside of them for me. Also, even though I set the game to English, some of the games was still another language. Like the island names were in Chinese, some game UI was in German, and even when it was English, it looked like it was copied and pasted from Google Translate. But honestly, because the game kept my attention and was kind of fun, this one was better than the last 2. The 4th game is called Black Cotton Wu Nang. In this game, we play as Pig Baizhe. I am probably pronouncing that wrong. Bai Gujing ate Tang Sanzang, and his skill increased greatly, and also Sun Wukong was killed alive. We're supposed to find and revive our old master and elder martial brother. When I started the game, I was hit with another Windows security alert asking to connect to my Wi-Fi, so I accepted it for a second time because I won't let no IP leak keep me from making a good video. But let me warn you, this game was actually terrible. I could only play it for like 11 minutes. When I spawned in, there were a bunch of people standing around, and each of them had their own quests, like asking me to find their sheep or picking herbs. And if those quests didn't sound boring enough, I had to deal with lag spikes every minute because of how terribly this game is optimized. The combat was horrible and not fluid at all. There were just weapons laying around like 50 feet from each other, and there was a pile of giant coins that gave me 100 million gold. So clearly the dev forgot to remove it when game testing. There is a leveling system to the game, and spells as well, but I truly didn't want to keep playing. The developer also posts updates to this game, but doesn't explain what the updates or patches are. To be completely honest, this game felt like I was dropped into a fever dream. And the last game I have is what a knockoff should be. It should resemble more of a parody rather than a complete low-value copy of a game. Grand Theft Horse, aka Rustler, is a medieval open-world crime game where our main character, Guy, is a gang member who takes illegal jobs from the gang leader, Herb. Oh, by the way, I played this game on stream. Please say something nice about me down in the comment section. Maybe my beard, or my totally non-receding hairline, or my 3D printed Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber you can kind of see behind me. Anyway, Guy no longer wants to work for Herb. He wants to own half the kingdom. But how can he do that? Well, there's an official fighting tournament that we can enter into to fight against others, and the winner gets half the kingdom. But the problem is, to get there, we have to cross a bridge only nobles can go through. However, we're not a noble, we're a criminal. So to cross the bridge, we have to pay someone 5,000 gold to forge a nobility certificate. I can't even count to that number. And since we only had 310 gold to our name, it was time to do some missions. For our next fight, we have Guy, who's as bold as... Hey bro, you don't have to say that. MMA's smashing phenomenon Roy BB... Yeah, BBC? Yeah, my last name is Big Black Club. I got a problem? Remember, only crossbows are not permitted. Fight. Yeah! Guy! Is this you? I think you haven't paid your debts. What debts? Let me remind you. Come here, little shit. Idiot. Yes, I mean, oh no, this pain, it's, unbearable. Now hit. Oh. Yes, sir. My kind of guy. You're getting pretty low there. I don't want to kill you. Hit him harder. Dude, I am. I'm gonna kill him. I killed him! How am I supposed to hit him harder? Will you please stand in this perilous line and register our distillery? Thank you from the bottom of our valiant hearts. They want me to stand in line? You gotta be kidding me. Wait in line. That is seriously the... Okay.
2 hours later.
There he is. Our dearest guy, how did it go? Please do not tease us any longer. You're registered. Oh my, this fills us with such joy. We have to celebrate. To the distillery, and since we're having fun, let's race to it. Ooh. After almost 3 hours of doing missions, we finally got our certification and crossed the bridge only nobles could walk. But then we suddenly got arrested by the police. How did the police know we were doing this? Well, uncertified torture, embezzlement. That's enough, officer. I think they got the message. He was undercover. He was undercover herb. The game then picks up where we're in jail, and we end up escaping by lighting some very hard hallucinogens on cops and ourselves accidentally. The game was pretty well made. Some parts of the game were a bit lacking, like the combat wasn't very fluid, but the story made sense, the dialogue was funny, sometimes it was satirical or broke the fourth wall, and the missions felt fun and hilarious to do. I'm not a big fan of top-down games, but this one I might keep playing. I only played about 3 hours on stream, and according to Google, the playtime is around 7 hours long, so it's more likely worth the money. Finally, what you've been waiting for, the games that these knockoffs were copying. Armageddon was copying Dark Souls, Champions of Odin was copying God of War, Ghost Treasure was copying Buckshot Roulette, Black Cotton Wu Nang was copying Black Cotton Wu Kong, and Rustler was copying GTA. Though I feel like I didn't have to explain this stuff, you probably already knew. And hey, if you want to see me play some of these games live, I'd love to see you in my streams where you'll appear right here. My Twitch link is in the description if you want to check it out. And if you want to see 5 brand new Steam games that I tried out, then click on this video right here.